Okay, everybody, we get your attention real quick here. We'll open our media availabilities here at Food City Dirt Race Weekend. We're going to start out with a special guest that we have visiting us here this weekend from the National Hot Rod Association World. Three-time Funny Car World Champion, Matt Hagan. He is from nearby Christiansburg, Virginia, no stranger to Bristol. And Matt, you've had a great start to the season. Wins at Gainesville and Pomona, California. Just kind of give us a little update on your season so far.
Yeah, Anthony, thanks for having me here. Obviously, Bristol is very special to me. It's 2 hours from home, so I consider Bristol my home track when we drag race here. Never got to turn left here, but, I figured out early on in life that my career wasn't very good at turning left. We have a little speedway back home, Motor Mile Speedway Dragway, and after I wrecked a few cars, my dad said, you don't have a future in this. Let's go straight, So so I ended up drag racing. But when I come out here, it really is home, we have so many folks that I grew up with and so many great people, solid earth folks that just really kind of come support what we do. Bristol is just amazing. Honestly, to have the night session out there with, under the lights, and these cars throw an 8-foot flame out on each side, and it's just something that is hard to describe to people until they see it for themselves, and then they're just shocked, and I've always asked people, I said, what do you think? Give me 5 minutes to come back and tell me what you thought, what we can do better. And everybody that's been to a drag race to watch 330 miles an hour, 11,000 horsepower, 80,000 foot-pounds of torque are just blown away, and I think Tony Stewart was as well. That's why he kind of got involved, and we're blessed to have Tony in the sport. He brings a lot of crossover from the NASCAR side of things to the drag racing side of things, and Tony's just having a blast, man, and he's really provided us with the parts and pieces and all the stuff that we need to do to be a winning championship team. We've won 2 out of the 3 races that we've had so far this year. Sometimes it's got a little bit of luck to do with it, but we'll take lucky better than being good most days anyway. But at the end of the day, I'm blessed to be driving for Tony. He's one of those guys that really cares about what he does in all the sports that he's in, and he has opportunities to be anywhere, and he comes out there and hangs out with us a little bit. But I can't say enough about Bristol, because Bristol is such, you kind of grow up racing here, and the memories made. And Bristol was one of my first drag races I ever went to. I was 13 years old, and I heard the Top Fuelers kick off, and I looked at my guy that took me, and I was like, what in the world is that? You know what I mean? And never would have dreamed that I'd be driving one and a 3-time world champion. And, I guess we just got my 45th win the other day. And just blessed. But, it takes the people that we've had around us to all the support that we've had. And Bristol's been a lot of support for me. Heck, I would do anything for them guys. They gave me a shotgun one year. They figured out I was duck hunting, and they come over and had me come up and gave me a shotgun. And I was like, well, whatever you guys need, I'll stand on my head for you now, since you gave me a gun. but it's been great to have this track this close to home and to be able to call it home. And we're really excited to be here. Watch a little bit of some dirt racing this weekend, and I guess my boss, he'll be here in a couple hours, and he's going to be announcing this weekend too. So just the crossover and what we're trying to do with drag racing and circle track and everything else is pretty incredible.
I'm sure you've seen a race here on the concrete. Have you seen one here in person on the dirt?
No, this would be a first for me on dirt. We used to fight for tickets to get here, and watch the night race and stuff like that. And people would be booked out left and right, and you're paying like crazy just to come stand up here and see this stuff. So this on dirt is going to be pretty wild. You know what I mean? For me, dirt cars. I guess Clint Boyer threw me in his late model dirt car one time, and it was the wildest thing I ever drove. It's like you turn right to go left, and you got to stay in the throttle instead of rolling out of it to keep the chassis hooked up. And I was like, man, that's just everything opposite of what you're supposed to do. And to watch Tony run some of this dirt stuff and different things like that, and different series SRX and stuff, it's pretty cool. But I don't think it's for me, man. I only got a 4-second attention span. You know what I mean? And it's 300 miles an hour, and but at the end of the day, it looks like a lot of fun. So I'm excited to see kind of how these boys handle it out here on dirt.
Awesome. Any questions for Matt, Jeff Birchfield?
Matt, how's Tony been different, say, as a team owner compared to Don Schumacher?
Well, I've got nothing but good things to say about Don Schumacher. I've won 2 championships with him, 3 championships with Don. And I was thinking about another crew chief. I won 2 championships with a different crew chief. But, Don's always supported and gave us the parts and pieces we needed. But the difference between Don and Tony is Tony's a driver, man, and he'll crawl up under that car and he'll just tell you like, hey, man, you know, put your neck on the throat, let's get up on the tire, you know, and get up on the wheel and drive this thing. And you know, and that passion that you can see, the competitiveness, it drives me, you know what I mean? And Tony's the type of guy that, you know, he's just a good guy, man. I mean, I've seen him do things already for just my crew guys. You know, I had a guy that was, his son was in ICU, you know, he's my car chief, and Tony put him on his plane and said, go home with your family, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. And that guy, he was just so grateful, you know, for that. That's the type of stuff that Tony does for his people. And, you know, it's just, I've seen time and time again in just the year or so that he's done so much stuff like that, you know, for some of our guys and different things. So I have a lot of respect for that, you know what I mean? And there's never a question asked of like, well, what's this going to cost or what's this going to do? He's like, no, man, let's take care of our guys. You know, let's do this. We're family, you know? So lots of respect there. But as a team owner, as far as motivating, as far as being a leader, as far as being, you know, one of those guys that are out here, you know, just you know, keeping your chin up, you know, when you're in the rut, you know, and it just kind of, it's refreshing, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of team owners, and I've been around a lot of guys that just expect you to do well, you know what I mean? They give you everything they need, but there's always, you know, it's always good when you get that pat on the back and you got an attaboy there, you know? So, and those are hard to come by out here in motorsports, you know what I mean? There's a lot of times that you mess up and a lot of times that there's opportunities to lose, but Tony's the first one to come over to the trailer, and he's like, you know, if you did that on purpose, then I'm upset, you know what I mean? But like, you learn from your mistakes and you move forward, and he's just a real motivating guy, and he's the type of guy that you want to win for and then go drink a beer with afterwards, you know?
Any other questions for Matt? Heather?
What do you expect to see after Bristol? Are you have any expectations for what Bristol in the dirt's going to be like?
I just want to see a bunch of crashes, man. I think that's what everybody wants to see, right? But no, I mean, I think it's going to be some good racing. You know, I mean, I'm curious to see. I know they did this last year a little bit, and you know, I was always kind of wondering, like, you know, how these cars handle, you know, the dirt and the radiators and all that kind of stuff, and staying cool, and how the guys see and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to me, you know, to kind of watch these guys, you know, run around here and how they handle the dirt versus the asphalt, and you know, just the driving skills, because there's a lot of guys that are great drivers on asphalt that probably are going to struggle, you know, on dirt. So, you know, and then you have some drivers that can just do both, you know what I mean? So I think obviously the driving style and, you know, how these cars are handling and you know, what they've done to them to make the modifications to get them out here on dirt to run all night. So that'll be pretty interesting to me.
Matt, you mentioned that you've won 45 times in your career this year. You won the Gator Nationals and the Winter Nationals. You've won at Bristol one time. What does it mean to you to win at Bristol, your home track?
You know, winning at Bristol is super special. And the reason for that is because we race on Father's Day weekend a lot of times. And, you know, and everybody asks me, because I won Indy, which is our biggest race of our season. And you never want to leave the sport without winning Indy, you know. And, you know, it's just something that you always want to do. But winning Bristol to me was more special than winning Indy, because my family was there, my kids was there, my dad was there. And, man, I broke down crying like a little girl, you know what I mean? Like it was that sentimental to me, like to do that, you know? And so anytime I get a chance to win Bristol, it's right there on the top of the tier, you know, to do that. But it's because, you know, I grew up around all these folks that come out, they're 2 hours down the road, and they got your Hagan shirts on, and they got the support out there. And I feel like Tony Stewart when I come to Bristol, because there's a line out the back of my trailer for everybody to sign stuff, you know, and it's really cool to see. So when you get a group of folks that you've grown up around and they've supported you and your family's there, and everybody's doing what you're supposed to, and you turn four-wheel lights on and get to celebrate in the winter circle, that's one of the most amazing things that probably has ever happened to me. So on top of the Indy thing, it was, you know, Bristol was definitely probably more kind of like valued for me, and as far as in that trophy in my trophy case, to be able to win there.
Now, your car produces well over 10,000 horsepower. Your top speed that you've run is 338.85 miles per hour. What is it like inside the cockpit? You got the engine in front of you, you know, with that much horsepower. What's it like to drive a car that fast?
Well, when I first started at Don Schumacher racing, I opened up my locker and there was 4 fire suits in there. And I said, well, why is there 4 fire suits? And they said, well, you're going to be on fire. You're going to get blowed up a few times. I said, well, hopefully I don't want to do that too much, you know. But what I'm getting at is those cars are so intense. There's just nothing like it on planet Earth. I mean, you know, I've drove monster trucks, I've drove drag boats, I've drove circle track cars, you know, you name it. I've you know, skydive. There is no fix that you get in any type of other sports or anything else that I've ever done in my life like standing on a fuel pedal of a fuel funny car. And you know, for me, it's so quick, it's instant. You know your results right now. You know, we're not waiting here 2 hours to figure out who's going to win or lose. It's you line them up, and it's, you know, 330 miles an hour in under 4 seconds, and you know whether that wind light came on or not. And there's no do-overs. There's no, you know, once it's done, you got to go back here and face those 10 boys that put this thing together and put the tents up and wrenched on the deal. So I pride myself in seeing a lot of wind lights, and because I don't want to let my guys down. And they're real important to me. They're, you know, this is their bread and butter and what they do. But you know, at the end of the day, these cars are just extreme. I mean, we pull 6 Gs on a run and almost negative 7 Gs when the parachutes hit. So, you know, some guys have problems with the retinas and different things like that. I mean, you know, they're trying to figure out ways to get these cars to slow down with the chutes not hitting as hard and stuff. But you're looking at almost a 13 G swing from positive to negative, you know, in a matter of fractions of a second. So it's pretty intense. I look really young for a while, and then I look really old. You know, I'm just hoping the old part don't stick. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things where I've just, you know, I've never gotten in one of those fuel cars and it been the same ride. You know, it's kind of like getting on a bull. You don't know how he's going to come out the gate. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know whether it's going to have a cylinder out, pick a cylinder up, drop a cylinder at the finish line. One thing I'll say about funny cars is they are a handful. And sometimes they go down the racetrack and it looks like they're straight, but you are in there like you're earning your money a lot of days. You know, and like this last win in Pomona, we were in the right lane and I earned my money all day long because it was one of those deals that wanted to suck you inside, and you see, you know, John Force and a couple other cars wreck over in that lane, and it's just some of the best have some real problems with it, but that's what's fun about it. You know what I mean? You get in there and you put your mouthpiece in, and you say a little prayer and hope for the best. You know, so that's kind of what we do.
All right, we'll take the last question from Jeff Birchfield.
Matt, it's easy to see with NASCAR. You'll see like Daytona's super speedway, then they race like at a road course, and here on the dirt, how different the tracks are. But like in NHRA, all your tracks are the same length. But how is Bristol maybe different than the other tracks you race?
Well, I mean, every track is so different, right? Because what people don't realize is they think that you just get in there and, you know, hit the pedal and drive it to the end. But my crew chief has so many different variables to deal with trying to apply 11,000 horsepower, 330 miles an hour. It doesn't just happen, you know what I mean? It just, you know, the glue, the track temperature, cloud cover, how much weight's on the clutch. They're making wing calls. They're, you know, tire pressure, how much alcohol to put to the nitro down to keep the tune-up up. There's so much chatter in my ear before we fire the car up that a lot of times I want to unplug my headset. But at the end of the day, it is truly incredible the changes that these crew chiefs make from round to round, you know, hour to hour. And you think that you just put it together and drag it up there, but it's just not the case. And so every weekend, I'm so impressed with my crew chief, Dickie Venables, to be able to make those changes and make those calls and go down racetracks that a lot of other guys can't. It's just, you know, years of experience and, you know, I guess kind of, you know, doing what his gut tells him to do and stuff like that. But Bristol is a great racetrack. You know, all these Bruton Smith tracks are great. You know what I mean? They're just, you know, the top of the top, and they're very classy, and the people around it. I mean, like parking today, I was like, man, we got to get these folks to work the NHRA event. I mean, they bring you in and they treat you right, and you know, Bristol just does it right. You know what I mean? And their track and the facility's great too. You know, and so it's just one of those things where you get excited because you get to be at Bristol, you get to be at a really great track and around a lot of great people, and the crew chiefs, you know, they like coming here, you know, because it's usually fast. I guess last year we got to race a little bit later in the season, so it cooled down a little bit. A lot of times it's a little bit hotter, so it's a little bit trickier to get down the racetrack. But that's with any racetrack that's warm because you're trying to apply that much power, you know, to the racetrack.
All right. Well, Matt, we appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to come and join us here and have fun watching the Weather Guard truck race on dirt and Bush Beans qualifying today. And again, Matt will be racing here June 9th through 11th, the NHRA Thunder Valley Nationals back here at historic Bristol Dragway. If you guys want to come out and watch, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.